What is up, people? It is me, Monster58, and welcome back to another video review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Transformers Studio Series 86 Deluxe Class Bumblebee. This is a figure a lot of people, including myself, have obviously been waiting for due to the fact that even though the Netflix Bumblebee is certainly not a bad figure by any stretch of the imagination, it's actually a pretty damn good figure. Obviously, it wasn't 100% accurate to the original cartoon's animation model, and so obviously this is the figure that is supposed to sort of remedy that. So taking a quick look at the box here, you can obviously see the very nice artwork here of Mr. Bumblebee himself. You have Studio Series 86 got Bumblebee, Transformers logo there on the side, the Generations logo here in the upper right, Transformers the movie logo, Takara Tomy. Got some more nice artwork here on the side with the Studio Series 86 Deluxe Class, more nice artwork over here, and then finally your obligatory product shots. Now I believe that if I recall correctly, the display stand is representing when they were inside Unicron at one point in the 86 movie. But yeah, as you can see, transforms in about 23 steps, transforms the movie Bumblebee. So very, very nice overall, but I think that is really about it for the box. And so alrighty, folks, here we have the Transformers Studio Series 86 Deluxe Class Bumblebee in his Volkswagen Beetle mode, and I gotta say that this is much more accurate to the original cartoon. As you guys who have watched the original cartoon recall, in the original cartoon, we definitely got more of that penny racer look, and this is exactly what this achieves. Now, the one thing you'll probably notice right off the bat, despite regardless of the looks, of the styling and the design, is the paint mismatching, specifically here on the A and the B pillars here. Now, when it comes to this part, I'll say that in photos, it is much more apparent. Actually, in person, it's really not all that bad. I don't find it awful, although it is noticeable. It's not as awful as it really seems across camera or on pictures in general, right? Like on video or on pictures. So overall, I'm actually not that mad about it. But taking a look here, he is tiny. Like, he can fit basically in the palm of my hand. So taking a look here, you can see the small wheel here on the front, the big wheel here on the back. You can also see the nice Autobot logo here on the front, the nice painted headlights there, the nice painted front bumper, nicely molded as well. You can see, again, the general aesthetic of a Volkswagen Bug is here. It's just, again, they really wanted to hammer home the aesthetic side of things and really make it look like it did in the cartoon, which it genuinely does. So taking a look here, you can see some more nice taillights here. You can see some nice molded detail across. Nothing crazy, but it's enough, right? And again, when we're talking about the 86 cartoon, there wasn't an insane amount of detail. There was just enough to get it across. Now, the only other major issue I have with this vehicle mode are the windows. And the reason I'm bothered by it is because we just got, and you'll see the comparison in a minute, I just got this pack of these guys. And to make these more cartoon accurate, they painted all of the windshields blue. Why couldn't they do that for this guy? That's the other thing that bothers me. Despite the paint mismatching, despite the paint mismatching, that's the other thing that bothers me. I wish these were painted blue, because you can probably go in and do it yourself, but the fact that they aren't from the factory kind of bothers me a bit. The other thing too is you can see the nice Autobot logo there on the top, and then this can just store his gun. His much more accurate G1 gun can store. You just have a peg here on the side of the gun right there, and then you do have a peg hole right there in the back. But taking a look at the gun, you can obviously see much more accurate to the cartoon as it stands. This is much more accurate, and I really do like it. Nicely painted in silver, nice molded detail, all around really solid. So overall, it's a really solid penny racer Volkswagen Bug mode. There's just a couple issues, mainly again with the windows not being painted blue, as well as the paint mismatching on the A and the B pillars, but other than that, pretty solid all around. So as I already set them off to the side, we are going to be doing our comparisons. Alrighty, just because I had him out here a couple seconds ago, here he is with Trailbreaker. As you can see, there's obviously a very big size difference between these two. You can definitely see that. Overall, still looks really solid, and this is about, I think, how they would scale in the cartoon. So very nice to see this. Again, man, just those blue windows make me really annoyed. Here he is with the leader, or quote leader, more like Voyager class, Earthrise Optimus Prime, and that bumper isn't all the way there. There we go. We're good. Okay. But yeah, here he is with Optimus Prime. And you got to say, again, very big size difference between these two. Obviously, Optimus Prime is going to be much bigger, but these two do look fantastic together. Now, the only thing we're obviously waiting for at this point is obviously, if you guys, well, not obviously, but if you guys haven't been keeping up with maybe leaks or rumors and stuff like that, it has been rumored and looks like it's been leaked that there's going to be a Studio Series Commander class, I believe Commander. It's Commander or Leader, but I think it's Commander. Studio Series 86 Optimus Prime. And it's going to be really weird, but at the end of the day, this obviously is the best Optimus Prime I still think that we've had in terms of a mainline release, not the masterpiece versions. And so when it comes to this guy, I really want to see what they'll do to improve on this mold, because it is a fantastic mold. So I'm really curious to see how much more that they can do to this to make it more cartoon accurate. And obviously they can, but I really want to see what they're cooking over there, Hasbro, with a Studio Series 86 Prime. So yeah, these two scale fine together. And finally, here we have him with the original Netflix B. Now, what I will say, like I said earlier in the video, this Netflix B is by no means, or any stretch of the imagination, a bad figure at all. There's a couple things you need to add to it, specifically an Autobot logo here on the top, so that you can actually, make it appear on his chest in robot mode, because that will become his chest, just like actually this guy as well. The new Studio Series 86 one. But this is obviously a more realistic representation of Bumblebee in his vehicle mode of how he would look in the real world. It's a really good figure, very well painted. The only issue, again, that everyone has with this thing, that I also have an issue with, it's not as big of an issue that I think people are making it out to be, is the parts forming on the back. Now, obviously, we're going to more than likely see a Cliff Jumper repaint of this guy and a slight retool. But yeah, just wanted to point that out because, I don't think the Netflix one is bad at all. It's a fantastic figure in and of its own right. Obviously, this new one is aimed to be the more cartoon accurate one, and so far in its vehicle mode, I will say it does achieve that. So you guys can take a look at how these two compare here. Alrighty, and with all that out of the way, it's time to get into the transformation. Now, when it comes to the transformation, these two, the Netflix one and this one, are very similar. It's still pretty simple to do, but it is pretty cool, and I don't find it complex at all, but I do think it's definitely more ingenuitive than the original because there's no parts forming. So, first things first, you're going to obviously want to take off the gun. You're going to want, what I like to do is remove the back here, and then you can take the legs, and then you're going to, the front, which will become the legs, sort of wiggle those open, then accordion them down, like so, and then the whole waist will go down, and then what you're going to want to do is accordion these and rotate them so that the Autobot logo goes inside the foot, and then you're going to grab the knees and you're going to bend it at the knees like so, and then from here you can just split, and then right here what you're going to want to do, come here to the back, you're going to want to flip this panel down, and you're going to want to come in here to the foot and flip this panel out as well. Same thing on this side, so flip this panel out, and you're going to come here and flip this panel down as well. Then you're going to want to fold these both in. What I like to do is, because sometimes these don't like to do the best, you'll notice that there's a peg right there, and then there's a peg hole on this part here. You're just going to want to put them like that. You're going to want to do the same here. What I like to do is hold this just in case it doesn't go in. There you go. You got that. And that's basically almost the bottom half, and then just take the waist and then rotate it like so. Now from here, very, very simple. So what you're going to want to do, come here. You're going to want to split the arms. You're going to want to rotate these out, and then you're going to want to spin them down like so. And you're going to want to rotate them back like this. And what I like to do is, you'll notice that there are little tabs right there. These two little notches. And you notice that there are two little notch holes there on each side. And you're just going to want to accordion this down so that it kind of locks itself in there. And it's a bit tough, but you'll see. Oh, excuse me. Grab the head, open the chest, pull the head out, and then that'll make putting the back easier. That's my fault there. I'm going to do this and fold that down a bit, and then it should appear basically like so. As you can see now, it's all secure right in there. Then take the arms, all you got to do. Now this is one issue I'll have with mine. I'll talk about it when we get into the robot mode, but you're just going to want to rotate the arms down. So you're going to want to fold the elbows out, rotate them down, straighten this little guy out a bit. He is tiny, absolutely tiny. But once you straighten them all out, you know, adjust the camera here. Here is the Transformers Studio Series 86 Studio Series 86 Bumblebee in his absolutely fantastic looking robot mode. Now guys, when it comes to this figure, this is pretty much the best representation that we've ever had in the mainline release of Bumblebee from the original 80s cartoon. And the thing with this is, it's pretty much accurate almost everywhere that's possible. The only issue that I currently have, and I know some other reviewers might have mentioned this, is the face. The face, despite it being more accurate than the Netflix one, at the end of the day, it's still not 100% accurate. I still think it's a little too chubby. I think it could be a tad bit thinner and a tad bit taller, but taking a look at the head sculpt, it still looks really good. You have the iconic Bumblebee horns, you have the iconic shape of the head in terms of the like how this part is on his face is surrounding his main face. Nice silver for the face, nice blue for the eyes. You also do have the nice Autobot logo there in the chest, very prominent. Coming down here, there's not a ton of detail, but this is how Bumblebee looked, and I think he looks fantastic. And then when you look at the back here, there's really nothing, and this is more or less accurate to how he was in the cartoon. Now, it was more clean. The hubcap was here, but still is much more accurate in general overall. Like this is Bumblebee, and I do like the shade of yellow that they used, a much more bright, punchy yellow. Not more of that deeper sort of golden yellow. This is much more vibrant, very like just brighter yellow, and it ends up working out for Bumblebee here. So really solid stuff. As you can see, he also holds his gun. I would show the accessories after I do the articulation, but there's so little to show, that why not just show it now. The other thing too with the gun is obviously just like in his vehicle mode, you can obviously store it in his robot mode. So just come here and then you can just peg it onto the back like so, and like that, and then you can obviously peg it on the back. Weapon storage if you want. It's actually not awful. One of the better weapon storages actually. But the one thing I want to point out that I already showed you guys is this joint here. For some reason, when you transform this guy back, and you'll see this, you have to do this and lock the arm like that. And unfortunately, because the joint, I guess, in there is so tight, it just completely pulls this off for me. I don't know if you guys have this issue with either of your arms, but for my right arm, which is on the left side of your screen, mine likes to pop off. It's not awful, but at the end of the day, obviously, I really wish it just didn't happen like that. So yeah, when it comes to Bumblebee, really solid robot mode in terms of the aesthetics wise. Again, the only issues that I have with this carry over from the robot mode. Carry over from the vehicle mode. The windows are not painted. The paint mismatching near here on the chest, as you can see, as well as I do think the head could be a tad bit more accurate, because I don't think it is 100% accurate to the original animation model. I'd love to hear your thoughts specifically on the head in the comments below, because personally I don't think it's 100% accurate. But as per usual, we are going to be doing our comparison. So I'm going to set this guy off to the side here, and we're going to zoom out a bit because the other figures that are coming in, those guys are going to be a fair bit taller than the little Bumblebee here. So alrighty, folks, here he is with the recently released, or the mold in general, Earthrise Trailbreaker, or the one from the Stand United Autobot 5-pack. As you can see, obviously there's a massive size difference because Bumblebee is one of the smallest, if not the smallest, characters next to his Minibot brethren. And so obviously he has to be extremely tiny in comparison, and this is about how he scales. So this works really well. Here he is, the leader of the Autobots, Optimus Prime. As you can obviously see, this is about how these two would scale together. I always thought of Bumblebee being around the size of Optimus's leg, or a little bit shorter, and this works for me. This is really solid stuff. Again, I'm really curious to see how that SS-86 Commander Class 1, if that is a thing that's going to be made, I wonder how it's going to be done and the size. I'm genuinely wondering how that will compare to this Earthrise one that I've used in my collection for the past, probably I think it's like 5 or 6 years at this point. And finally, here he is with the Netflix Bumblebee. As you can see, there is a stark contrast. The main things, again, are, despite the molds are completely different, as you can see, the color is one of the big things, as well as the head. And actually, the new one is actually a tad bit taller than the Netflix one, which is very interesting. I didn't even really compare them side by side this closely while gearing up for the review. But yeah, as you can see, the Bumblebee new SS-86 one is slightly taller, but definitely has that more cartoon-accurate color scheme, more cartoon-accurate look, especially with the Autobot logo on the chest, and as you can see, the Netflix one doesn't. Like I said, Netflix one, is it bad by any stretch of the imagination? No. If you really want to make this as accurate as possible, go to Toy Hacks, pick up an Autobot logo, and chuck it on the Netflix's chest, and you'd be perfectly fine to have that in your collection, and I wouldn't blame you for having that in your collection. But excuse me, in terms of the cartoon accuracy when it comes to these two, the new SS-86 one by far takes the cake. And that is no question, in my opinion. So, yeah, you can see how these two look together. Alrighty, and with those comparisons out of the way, it is time to do the articulation. So the head is technically on a ball joint. You can't really get up and down. I mean, slightly. You can see slightly. You can do a full 360. You also have a full 360 here. You have a 90-degree bend at the elbow, but like I told you, for some reason that I don't know what happened with that joint. You also have full wrist, which is really, really nice on the mini-bot. The next mini-bot that got it after freaking Gears, so that's sick. You do get full waist. It does run into the back a bit, though, but you do get full waist, which is very, very nice. You just have to lift it up a bit, so nothing too crazy, but you will have to lift it up to get that. But you do get forward kick, you do get back kick, you do get 90-degree bend at the knee, and then you do get an upper thigh rotation as well. And then you do get some ankle rocker, and you can go forward and back because of transformation. Can go back, can't really go forward all that much on like this joint. But what I will say about Bumblebee is you do get some really nice articulation out of this guy. Again, I think it's funny that the mini bots so far, at least Gears and Bumblebee so far, through Legacy United and the recent SS86 stuff, have had some incredible articulation, and these are deluxe figures, so definitely sets a standard, right? I think absolutely fantastic articulation from this guy. And before we even get into the transformation here, the reverse transformation, man, the joints on this guy are pretty tight. Regardless of even that, the arm thing, right? The joints are really tight. Like the leg joints specifically are very, very nice, and I'm really, really appreciative that this thing feels good. But they're not so tight to where I feel like I'm gonna break anything. It's not like those ratchet joints in frickin' Titan Triptychon or anything like that. It's not that tight. They feel just tight enough to where these will last a long time, and that they're good and solid joints to support the weight of the figure in any pose that you want. So, getting into it, let's get into the reverse transformation, and it's just as simple going back to vehicle mode as it was going from vehicle to robot. So we're going to remove the gun here. What I like to do is you can take the back, and I like to just get this out of the way, lift the head up, and then what you can do is you can fold that down and then take the head and you can fold that in, like so. And you're going to take the arms and you're going to lock the elbows, which I already technically did, but you're lock the elbows, and then you're going to rotate them back like so. Then you're going to rotate these out like so, and then you're going to flip them up like so. Put the chest back in. You're going to want to come here down to the feet. You're going to want to untab these, open these panels, untab these, open these panels, fold these back up. Make sure that they're tabbed in as well because there's little tabs in there. Rotate these in as well, and then you're going to want to clip these together. Now, what you're going to want to do is kind of funky, but ends up working out. So, what I like to do, you bend it here at the waist first. Take the waist joint, fold that in, like so. Then you're going to want to bend at the knees, like so. And then you're going to essentially want these two bits to go underneath the windshield. And then you push in while rotating. And then you should be able to get this perfectly fine. Then take these, rotate them down, like so, and then you're going to want to come in here and you're going to want to use that little peg right there, and you're going to want to peg these two in the forearms together, like so. Then make sure everything is a bit squozen here, as MGO would say, a bit squeezed in. And then take this section, all you got to do, rotate that up, make sure, again, everything is squished together, everything is tabbed into place. Take the gun, tab it here on the back, which, again, I actually don't think this weapon storage is egregious. And ladies and gentlemen, here we have the Transformers Studios Series 86 Deluxe Class Bumblebee back in his Penny Racer Volkswagen Bug Mode. And alrighty folks, so for my final and concluding thoughts on the Transformers Studio Series 86 Deluxe Class Bumblebee, this is a fantastic representation of what we got in the original 80s cartoon with Bumblebee. This is as close to the animation as we've gotten so far. Is it perfect? No. Main issues I have, the windshields are not painted blue. I also think that the paint mismatching, although not egregious in person, is certainly noticeable both on video as well as in pictures. In addition to this, for some reason, the quality control on my arm is really suck, like on the right arm, which is on, again, the left side of your screen. Like, I don't get why it's like that. Maybe, again, I'd love to hear in the comments if you guys have had this issue, if you guys picked up this figure already. And the last thing I'd also like to talk about is the head sculpt. Although it's like 90% accurate. I just wish it was a little thinner and a little taller, and then it would have been perfect. And I think they would have nailed it. But unfortunately, it's just a little too chubby still for me. I think they're taking a lot from this guy. This guy's head sculpt, right? Which is a bit chubby, right? It's a bit chubby. that it should be, but I definitely think that the head sculpt could be improved still, although it is fantastic. What's good about this figure? Again, the vehicle mode is so accurate to how he looked in the original cartoon. The Autobot logos are really, really awesome placement. Transformation, there's no parts forming anymore, but it's also relatively simple and still fun to do. I find myself messing around with this guy a lot. I have been messing around with him a lot for the past few days. Articulation is really solid, and again, the aesthetics on this guy are absolutely top-notch. Again, it's literally, to me, just the paint mismatching the windows and the head. That is really about it, and then obviously the QC that I talked about. But other than that, a fantastic figure that out of a 10, I probably am going to give a 9. It's nearly perfect. It's just about perfect for me. Like I said, even though that I've listed off a few issues, they're, at the end of the day, they are smaller issues than you may think. I don't think that they're huge, massive issues that ruin the figure for me in a substantial way at all. I still think this is a fantastic figure, and I definitely recommend you pick it up. And speaking of picking it up, I picked mine up on the Big Bad Toy Store, so I will leave a link in the description to that. Also, will leave links to Hasbro Pulse, as well as Amazon. And I do wish you the best of luck if you do decide to hunt this guy IRL, because as told on the live stream, I believe Mark was the one who said that this guy is meant to be a figure that is not going to they're purposefully making lots and lots and lots and lots of, so that it'll be shelved for a long time, because obviously they want people to get an opportunity for this, because the Netflix B was super hard. So I'm guessing that they're trying to make up for that fact, especially considering that up until now that was the most accurate cartoon accurate Bumblebee mainline figure that we've gotten. And so really, really awesome to hear that. So again, I wish you the best of luck if you do decide to hunt this guy IRL. He should be hitting your retailers either now or relatively soon. And so, yeah, without further ado, I think that's about it. So I thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. Please like, comment, rate, and subscribe. Share this video with your friends, and also follow me in the socials. Those will be linked in the description below. And with that, guys, and once again, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video, and I will catch you all in the next review. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Peace.